What's up, guys? It's me, Tony G, coming to you from Live Hotel and Casino. This is episode 81 of my vlog. In this episode, we're going to get into some cash games. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Here we go. In this session, I didn't lose too many hands that I did play. I got out of hand maybe 4 or 5 times, but I tried to stay diligent and pick my spots where I was going to play. I felt I was very disciplined this session, and it turned out pretty well. And I already know that there are going to be haters in the comments saying you should have played this hand this way. Why would you play that hand exactly? Why did you play this hand in that position? And it is what it is. This is how I played this session, 7-handed in a COVID environment. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Alright, so the first actual hand I get in, I have the Jack of Diamonds, the 2 of Diamonds. I'm under the gun +1. Yes, I limped to $3. I'd seen a couple of hands and just wanted to get into a hand, so I limped in. Believe it or not, there were 3 other limps, and including the big blind who just checked his option. So we go 4 ways to the flop at this point. The flop comes out decent for us. It's the Jack of Hearts, the King of Diamonds, and the 10 of Diamonds. Now, I thought about putting out a bet, but seeing everybody limp in, and then the big blind and the small blind check, I check, and everybody actually checks. We check to the turn. The turn's the 4 of spades. And it actually checks it to the river, and I wasn't going to let the river go check through. The river's the ace of spades. Like I said, I'm not going to let the river check through to showdown. So I throw out a bet at $10. The cutoff actually calls, and everyone else folds. I'm thinking, man, I hope he's got a 10. And nope, he doesn't have a 10. He flips over the King of Hearts and the 3 of spades. And yeah, we lose the first pot we get in, but it's not a big one, so no big deal. Okay, a couple orbits later, I have the Queen of Clubs, the 2 of Spades. I'm in the small blind. It is $6 to go. The button folds, and I call the $6. And I believe we are 3 or 4 ways to the flop. I think it's 4 ways to the flop. And the flop comes out the 8 of Spades, the 10 of Spades, and the Jack of Diamonds. Now I check, and it actually checks all the way around to the turn. The turn is a great card for us. It's the 9 of Diamonds. And I throw out a bet of $15. I only get 1 caller, and everybody else folds. And we are heads up to the river, obviously. The river is the 6 of Diamonds, which doesn't change too much for too many people, I would believe. But it does bring in the backdoor flush. I now throw out a bet of $30, and the under the gun says to me, do you have the flush? And tanks for a good 10-15 seconds. Ultimately, he decides to go ahead and call and shows Jack 10 and sees that we have the straight, and he's no good with his 2 pair. Okay, another orbit later, I have the Ace of Spades, the 3 of Clubs. I'm on the button. I decide to limp in for the $3. Yes, I know you never should limp. I limp in for the $3. And believe it or not, because a lot of people limped, we are 5 ways to the flop. And the flop comes out the 4 of spades, the 9 of spades, and the 10 of spades. So for me, this is looking like a pretty decent flop. I double check my cards, make sure I got the ace of spades, which I do, not the ace of clubs, because I've done that before. The small blind bets 15. 2 people fold. The cutoff calls, and I call. So we're now 3 ways to the turn. And the turn doesn't help me. It's the king of hearts. It actually checks all the way around to the river. I should have bet, but I check anyway. And the river is the glorious 8 of spades, giving me the nut flush. The small blind leads out for $25. The cutoff folds, and I actually make it 50. And by the time I'm done counting my chips, the small blind decides to call, and all I say is I have the ace.
I got the ace.
And we take down a decent pot. Alright, about 35 or 40 minutes later, I'm back on the button. I have the ace of diamonds, the queen of diamonds. It actually limps to the cutoff, and he makes it $15. And that's what I was going to raise it to, so obviously I'm not going anywhere. I call the 15, and we are actually 4 ways to the flop. Now, the flop for me couldn't have come out any better. It is the queen of spades, the 9 of diamonds, and the 7 of diamonds. So I have top pair and the flush draw going. It checks to the cutoff, who has been aggressive all day, and he throws out a bet of $30. And again, with top pair and the flush draw, I'm not folding or going anywhere. So I decide to just call the 30. The big blind tanks and decides to just go ahead and call. The middle position folds, and we're 3 ways to the turn now, which is the king of hearts. Doesn't change too much for me. The big blind checks, the cutoff checks, and I don't want to give too much away, so I decide to check. Let me know in the comments if that was correct or not. The river is the wonderful 3 of diamonds, giving me, once again, the nut flush. The big blind tanks for 10 or 15 seconds here, which you're seeing. I'm just waiting for him to hopefully bet a decent amount. And I look at my cards. Yeah, I still got the nut flush. He finally announces bet, and he says $90. Okay, so the cutoff folds, and I announce my bet, or my raise actually, to 180. The big blind looks at me and says, there's no way you got this, but he tanks for literally 30 or 45 seconds. And eventually, and unfortunately, he lets it go without calling, and we take down this pot. I was really hoping he would call. About a half hour after that last hand, I have the ace of diamonds, the 8 of hearts. I'm under the gun. I make it $12 to go. The middle position makes it 22 to go. And everybody else but myself folds. And after thinking, I decide, okay, let's do it. $22 to go, let's go. Heads up to the flop. The flop is the 8 of spades, the 2 of diamonds, and the 3 of clubs. Top pair, top kicker. The middle position checks it to me, and I throw out a bet of $25. He tanks for a little bit, but ultimately he does call, and the turn is the 2 of spades. It actually checks to the river, and the river is the 8 of diamonds, giving me trip 8s with the ace kicker. The middle position bets $49, and I'm thinking he just wants me to let it go because of the 8. I re-raise to 100, and he basically snap calls and shows 2 of hearts, 3 of spades. What are you going to do? The 8 wound up hurting me in the end because I probably wouldn't have re-raised to 100. That's poker for you. I was going to leave right after that hand, but I didn't, and I played it and lost. So we're going to try to leave on a winning hand here, and I have the ace of spades, the jack of spades. I'm in middle position. I make it $6 to go, and everybody else folds, but I do get 2 callers, including the button, and we are 3 ways to the flop. And the flop comes the queen of hearts, the jack of hearts, and the 8 of clubs. I'm the first to act, and I bet $15. There's 1 fold, and the button calls after tanking for a good 10 or 15 seconds. He almost throws his card in, but decides to call. And the turn is the jack of diamonds, giving me trip jacks with the ace kicker. Gotta love it. I throw out a bet of $25, and the button doesn't take too long. He actually calls, so I'm thinking, does he have a queen or an 8 or maybe 2 8s? The river is the 6 of clubs. I don't think it changes too much. Doesn't help me out any. And I announce a bet of $40, and he basically snap folds, and we take that down, and we end the day with a winning hand. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, do me a favor. Hit that like and subscribe buttons. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you didn't like. I'll see you guys in the next episode. And don't forget, it doesn't matter how you're living your life, as long as you're living the felt life.